Same case, but different. We go deeper because there's another voice in the room. One that understands what's happening beneath the surface, the behavior, the patterns, the psychology. So this isn't just what happened, this is why it happened. And that changes everything. I'm not used to doing this with you.
Get in the mind frame.
You need to speak and loud. Not loud, but you need to be clear. I know that's rich coming from me when I can hardly talk.
I do speak clear. I always speak clearly.
You speak clear?
I just said I always speak clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so just let me do my thing because as we all know, I'm the pro.
Sure.
Yeah, all right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so for everyone just joining us, where's my intro? I've lost my intro. Okay, so welcome to the show, everyone. This one's a little bit different and slightly intimidating because as I'm saying this, my wife is just staring me dead in the face. And she knows I only do this on my own. But my wife was quite annoyed with my Stanford Prison Experiment podcast. Simply because, well, I let her introduce herself. But basically, she's qualified in knowing everything about this subject. And I didn't consult her beforehand and ask her advice or anything, really. I just did it all off my own back. So yeah, I was in the doghouse for that. But, okay, so, Leanne, will you please explain to everyone why you know so much about, not everything, this subject?
I don't know that. I don't know everything about it, but obviously when you said you were focusing on this, I was like, are you joking? Like, I've been teaching this subject for like 18 years and you didn't even ask my opinion on what I might actually have to say about it.
You're going to have to come in a bit.
And then when I heard you saying about it and I listened to your podcast, there was a lot of things. I can't get any closer.
You're going to have to because I can't hear you on the mic. Look at the lines. That's you talking there.
Okay.
Right. So, sorry.
So what I was saying
was go for it.
There were lots of things that you were mentioning and I thought to myself, if you'd have asked me, I could have given you a better insight.
Okay. So, was it good or no?
No, it was really good. Yeah, of course it was really good. It was really informative.
Thank you.
It was really interesting, entertaining. Okay. I was just confused as to why you wouldn't consult the expert, you know?
Right. Okay. So we're going down our road tonight now. Okay. Right. So I have spent my entire break time sorting out some questions and listening to my podcast on this subject, and let's see how good you really are.
Yeah, I'm going to show myself up now because I've just said I'm an expert and that might not be the case.
Yeah. So Leanne hasn't seen any of these questions and I'm hoping that I'm going to, trip her up, basically.
Well, you think you know more?
I think I could sit an exam and pass it.
Okay.
I could get, like, a degree in this.
This being?
This experiment.
Right. There's no such thing.
As the experiment?
As a degree in this experiment.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is, if there was,
Yeah, you could
I'd,
ace it.
I'd definitely get a star from my teacher.
Yeah?
Yeah, and maybe like 10 out of 10, a little smiley face.
Yeah, on like a class quiz.
No, I'm talking about an actual fucking exam.
Okay, right, yeah, sure. Okay.
You say you're this teacher and all that, but I haven't seen any of your fucking qualifications.
Well, why would you? Why would I show them to you?
But I have never seen you walking into a fucking school either. So you could have been lying to me for 10 years.
Well, that's a load of crap, isn't it? Because you used to come and see me at Coleg Went all the time.
Oh yeah, my memory's fucked. It's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Alright. Now that's just going to sound like we've planned that, but there's literally no plan gone into this one.
You just don't remember anything.
So, for anyone that's joining us tonight, which, let's be honest, there's not many fucking people listening to this. Is there?
No,
But
that's not true.
but-
That's not true. You've got some followers, you have.
Yeah, but for the ones that do, I appreciate them. So, give me the simple version. What actually happened with Stanford, or at Stanford?
I don't think there's any point me reiterating the whole version of the experiment. Like, you've already told that. And
Question number 2.
You haven't got no, but like you haven't got anything inaccurate. I wouldn't say you were inaccurate in what you said. So there's no point me telling the story again.
Okay. Did you pick out anything that I was supposed to ask you then?
What do you mean?
Like, I sent you all the questions.
I thought you were asking everything. I didn't realise that.
But I've just started with question 1. And you're saying I don't need to answer that?
Yeah, well, maybe, maybe I didn't. Maybe I overlooked that one. But there was nothing else that I was like, "Oh, don't bother saying that." Well, let's see.
Yeah, obviously. Question number 2. I got about 40 fucking questions.
God.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you know when it's a good one, shall I?
Yeah, okay. What was Zimbardo trying to prove? Like, in plain English, not teacher mode.
Just that people will conform to social roles. If you give someone a role to play, they will conform to it. Whatever that role might be, that they will play up to that role because there is expectation to fulfill that role.
Okay,
That's what he was aiming for.
right. So I think he pretty much proved that.
Yeah.
I think we've already covered this, but be honest, how badly did I butcher part 1?
No, I don't think you did. I think you did a great job. I think you gave the information. I think you did well.
Lovely. Thanks. I kind of knew that, but it's always nice
You wanted a compliment. So
Yeah.
you forced one out of me.
Yeah. To be fair, you're not good with the comp.
Most of the questions are, how good am I at this? How
Yeah.
much do you like that?
Yeah.
Fishing. You are.
I don't like fishing.
Fishing for compliments.
Oh. Okay, question number 4. Do you find me sexually attractive?
That's not on the list.
Okay. Right. Okay, in your opinion, do you think it was ever going to end well?
I actually think the start of the experiment and the layout of it was... The aim was to see if people would conform. I don't think they really expected it to go the way it was going to go.
Okay.
I think that the intention was to be quite pure and just let it happen and be organic. It was what you call like a field experiment. So it was in a natural setting. So there wasn't meant to be much intervention. It was meant to be like, let them get on with it and see what happens.
Okay.
So I think the intention was good. And I think it could have shown things, but obviously that's not the way it went.
Yeah, you need to speak up a bit. Look at your lines on the screen.
All right. I'm just not as loud as you.
Yeah, I know, but it's going to look really bad in editing, mixing.
What do I do? Just pull this closer?
Yeah, you can try that. I can talk.
Is
louder.
that better?
Not really. That's
No.
too loud.
Oh.
You've got to find your middle ground.
Well, I don't know. I've never done this before.
You're useless at shouting.
Yeah, I know.
You wouldn't be like this if you came from the valleys. Why did they go as far as arresting them at home? Because it was all supposed to... I get that it was supposed to be, real, but they had already signed up for what the experiment was for. So for me, I personally think that could potentially be a non-experiment, like useless for the experiment.
No, I don't agree, because I think the whole point was to make it seem as real as possible. Like I said, with it being like a field experiment, they're trying to put them in a setting that is as close to a natural prison as possible and let it play out. So the idea was, if they kind of made them start the experiment as they meant to go on, that they would truly believe they were prisoners. Right. It's because obviously the guards nothing happened to the guards, but the prisoners were arrested in order for them to really get into the mindset that they are in the role of prisoner, to get them to believe it.
Right, okay, fair enough. I take that back then. Okay, I've lost count of the questions now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just call it question X. Can I have another one of your cans?
What do you want me to say?
Yes.
Yes, then.
Okay. Right, question XX. Can you go get me another can?
No. No. Not happening.
Okay, serious then. What does taking someone's name away and giving them a number actually do to their head? Is that... I imagine that's not an instant thing, but when they're repeatedly called a number, it's sort of... It breaks you over time.
I think the idea of that is to mimic a prison setting. So, like, it would take a bit of time to kind of dehumanize someone, wouldn't it? Like, if you were put into prison, it would take several years for you to suddenly feel as though you're one of the masses and you're not your own person anymore. You don't have your friends, you don't have your family, you don't have contact to the outside world, you don't have rights, you don't have opinions, you follow the rules, routine, all of those things. That takes a long time for you to suddenly feel like somebody who doesn't count in society. So I think what they were trying to do is mimic that by taking away anything that makes them them. So giving them a number, taking away their name, giving them a uniform, giving them no underwear is like dehumanizing. So it was like a quick fix to get them into that role of feeling that they are subservient and they're not who they used to be. In prison, that would happen, wouldn't it, over time? But
they needed to fast track it because they only had 2 weeks.
Yeah. So the idea was to make them feel like they are less of a person. So they would then succumb to that role of, right, I'm a prisoner. I don't have rights. I don't have,
So I'm assuming Zimbardo had a team working with him, or was this all just devised by him?
Oh, no. He would have had a team under him to like advise as to how this would work. Nobody does an experiment alone.
Yeah.
It would take a big team of people, but they would have looked into the idea of like, what makes someone conform to a social role? What are the factors that lead them to conform to that role? And one of those factors would have been the way they dress, the way they're called, the things that they're allowed to have, the rights they have, that all of those factors. And he was obviously just trying to prove that taking all those things away makes somebody feel like less of a person, so more likely to behave like less of a person, like a prisoner.
Thanks, Teach.
Yeah. You asked.
Can you step away from the blackboard, please?
No, because you asked me to. Stay at the blackboard.
Can you do that thing where you just have a piece of chalk and just spin your arm around and just do like a perfect circle?
Do you think I'm like a teacher in the 80s or something? Because we don't have a chalkboard anymore.
Oh, it's a chalkboard, is it, in England?
We don't have a chalkboard. What are you calling that?
Is it politically incorrect to call them a blackboard now?
No, but we don't have blackboards anymore either.
None?
No. It's a whiteboard, isn't it? Or even that, you don't even have that. You've actually got like a smart projector.
Oh, so you've got a whiteboard and black chalk?
No, because you don't have chalk in the classroom. You don't have a whiteboard either. You have a telly that projects everything and you write it on the smart board.
So, as a teacher, what do you use the chalk rubbers for now?
Nothing. Chucking it people's heads if they're like you.
Wow.
There's no such thing as...
Well, I haven't been in a school for... Jesus. 23 years.
Well, in all fairness, I haven't been in school. I haven't been a teacher for 2-3 years now, so I don't know what they got anymore.
Well, so it could be like just... scratch bar. Gone blank.
Get back to the question.
Okay. So on the similar lines with the number thing, the guard's uniform, sunglasses, what's that doing psychologically?
It's giving them the impression of power, isn't it? It's like if you look at a policeman, they've got the helmet, they've got the uniform, they've got the, what's it called? Is it truncheon or...
Well done.
Yeah. They've got something, everything there sets them apart from other people, doesn't it? And it makes other people respect them because there's a standard look that you see that it's like, oh, there's policemen. The car, everything puts people in a bit of fear because it's like, oh, you've got to listen to them. They're a sign of authority. That was the purpose of those things in the experiment, to make them feel like not only are they separate from the prisoners, but also the prisoners recognise all of those different factors in their uniform, the sunglasses. It was like, you're the position of authority. Even silly things like wearing sunglasses stops people looking in your eyes. You know, it makes them feel as though they are, emotionless because they can't see that emotion registering in their face.
Yeah. So do you think it was fair or necessary or, I suppose, unfair that the guards had a small amount of this is where we want it to go?
What do you mean?
So they weren't necessarily told what to do.
Yeah.
But they were sort of like you can't teach a prisoner how to be you can't teach a fake prisoner how to act like a criminal.
Yeah.
But you can teach an ordinary man what a guard's duty is, which is what they did.
No, they didn't give any guidance on how they should behave.
Well, that's what I told everyone in the first episode.
No, there wasn't really any guidance on how anybody should behave. The whole point was that because of the uniform, because of the structure, because of the power that was given to them, that allowed the guards to believe that they were, without repercussion of their behaviour. And the more they started to get aggressive and a bit more forthright in what they were doing, the more they learn, they don't get told off. They're allowed to do it. And in the same right with the prisoners, the more they were made to feel helpless, the more they acted helpless. It wasn't that anybody was there saying, you're allowed to do this and you've got to do that. It was that the role they were fulfilling made them feel and act that way.
Well, when I was researching it, I definitely read, because I wrote it down in the script, that they weren't they had guidelines given to them of what was expected of a normal police prison guard.
Absolutely. You would have been given guidelines on terms of like, you're allowed to, punish this behaviour, you're allowed to say this and whatever, just like the prisoners would have been told you must obey, you must, but that didn't always happen, did it?
Right, so that's the part that obviously I missed, because I remember what I read was they didn't tell the prisoners anything because you can't tell somebody how to be a criminal. But they could give the people playing the guards that level of guidance, even though it was very, very small.
Yeah, but they also did give that guidance to the prisoners. It's just that they didn't initially listen to it. They were told, you have to listen, you have to get in line, you have to do, go here, there, and be told what to do. Like, they were all told, these are the expectations of your roles.
Okay.
But I don't think that there was more expectation given to the guards than the prisoners.
Okay, right. Well, obviously I've doesn't matter how much research you do, does it? Obviously, you've just proved that you can still miss something.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
read the wrong thing.
Well, yeah, and also I could be wrong for it. There could be facts that I say that I've got slightly
Yeah.
you read around it, don't you? And it's open to interpretation, obviously.
Okay. Day 1 seemed calm. So what flips on day 2?
I'm not entirely sure what changed, like the pinpoint of what changed, but I think that it was the general feeling that it didn't feel like an experiment anymore to the guards and the prisoners. I think there were certain instances where the prisoners would, start playing up, and then they quickly realised that that wasn't going to be tolerated, and they were actually punished. I think that's when they realised this isn't a joke. This is not mucking about.
And then, sorry for interrupting, but in my head, I was thinking then, if the guards initially doing what they is a grey area, whether they were told to do it, not told to do it, but guided, this is what you don't tolerate, and they didn't tolerate it, would I be right on a psychological level that they thought, how can I say it, that they sort of enjoyed it in a very sadistic way, and then progressively over hours or shorter number of days, is that why it got worse?
No, I wouldn't say so. I don't think it's about enjoying it. I think it's
that maybe that was the wrong word, but like sort of getting carried away.
Getting carried away is definitely what it was. Like, the more that they were able to assert their authority, the more they realised they could.
Yeah.
And no one was stopping them.
Yeah.
So if no one's there saying, right, you've gone too far, you can't do that, they're going to just keep going. And that's the whole point. Like, when you're given that authority, a lot of people play up to it because it's expected of them. That's the role that they have been asked to fulfill. So they might fulfill that role. But for some people, and obviously not everyone, not every guard in that situation, might have taken it a little bit too far because they felt the expectation was higher, or maybe they did enjoy it to some degree, or maybe they were just playing that part in that situation.
Yeah, okay. So I just thought there while you were speaking, this is kind of like, we've had a conversation about Marxism and how, you make everyone equal, and there's always someone who will take the role of leader. Am I right in saying that there were some guards who were less abusive, and I know that there was one in particular guard that was very, very bad, and he felt really regretful after it ended.
Absolutely, there would have been some guards more abusive, more into the role of being authoritative and pushing the limits, as much as there would have been prisoners that would have pushed back more so than others, some that would have struggled more so than others, because everyone's obviously different. Doesn't mean to say that putting every single person in a role they will react the same way. It just means that some people, and most people, will abide by those rules, but just some lower extreme to the other.
Okay. That's great. Right, we're going to take a little break here because there's a pretty little lady, 8 years old, that has just walked in saying she wants to go to bed. Or are you asking for food? No, to which one?
Have you brushed your hair?
How long until bedtime? What did you tell me? This is the best way to wash it. What did you say?
Put the bottom of it on the
That's right. Yeah.
Still needs brushing though, doesn't it?
I don't want to wash it.
Well, you have to, because it'd be a nightmare in the morning otherwise.
Oh,
Okay, I'll give you 20 minutes, alright? Because I'm in a good mood.
is that what's still recording?
It is, yeah.
Say hi.
No. What are you doing?
We're just recording Daddy's podcast, so
Daddy's interviewing me.
yeah, if you want 20 more minutes of TV time, then you pop yourself back up. Okay? You're good girl.
Pop your little pops upstairs.
We're going to be done in a minute. Okay. So it's a double parter. Why did the prisoners rebel so quickly? And is that just human nature? Like, people push back when they feel controlled.
Yeah, I think initially they were obviously going into the experiment thinking they're prisoners, but in the early days they didn't really believe that it was that strict. So I think they pushed back to see what the boundaries were. You know, they obviously weren't in great conditions, didn't love it, and probably a lot of them were thinking, oh God, I don't really want to be doing this.
Yeah. Well,
So they kind of pushed back to see what, you know, like kids do. Push the boundaries, see where you can get to.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Like on the weekend when the kids made me cry.
Yeah, they just push and push until they break you. I think that's what they were trying to do, you know?
Yeah. Saddest day that was. I was really, really sad. But, you know me, I come back fighting, perked myself up, I put my hat on backwards and thought, no, you got this. And then
It'll all be fine.
yeah, and then I realised I got the power to send them to their room. So I wiped the tears away
Yeah,
and I said, get to your room.
yeah.
And they went to their rooms.
Yeah, suddenly you're the guard now and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I felt like shouting up the stairs, do you think this is the Stanford prison experiment?
Yeah, they would have been like totally understanding, especially the 3-year-olds. They would have really understood that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll be saying, oh, he's talking about Stanford again.
God, here he goes, Dad, banging on about the prison experiment.
Okay then. Guys, I hope you've had a good time. We're just going to do the breakdown now, I suppose. What's actually happening to the prisoners mentally?
I think they're just succumbing to the role that they accept. I think they are realising that they don't have any authority, they don't have any choice, and they are just acting helpless because they believe they don't have any way out. I mean, initially in the early days, quite a few of them tried to escape it. They tried to get out. They tried to say to the guards and, you know, Zimbardo himself, I want to leave. I don't want to be here. And they were completely not fobbed off, but like reiterated to them, if you try to leave, you'll lose your money. If you try to leave, like putting the pressure on them.
So these are people that probably needed the money.
Potentially. I mean, the advert went out and people volunteered.
Was it on student campuses or just...
Yeah, it was students, I think.
Yeah, so they probably did need the money.
Yeah, and it was an advert. It was a volunteer sample, I think.
Yeah, it was.
So people they replied in response to the fact that they were going to get money for it. So if they were having a hard time and saying they wanted to leave and they were threatened with you not getting your money, they felt powerless. They felt like they had to stay.
So it's just another control technique.
Yeah. So I think that what was going on for them mentally was like the toss up between if I leave, I'm not getting paid, but also I don't feel happy here and I'm not comfortable, but also starting to believe that they were completely powerless and acting as if they were because of that.
Yeah. I remember having a conversation with someone about this. And this person said he didn't understand what they were complaining about because it was only 2 weeks. Now, I thought of the best way I could describe it was, have you ever been in work on a Monday and just dreading the thought of getting to Friday? And you're not being bullied and you're not being given a name and you're not all the stuff that they went through. And then come Wednesday, you think, I've had a fucking guts full of this. I'm calling in sick. It's that times 200, surely.
Yeah. And although initially they kind of thought it was a bit of a laugh, once they realised that they were completely powerless, you almost give up, don't you? And it's like that feeling of being helpless and that no one's going to help you, you can't help yourself, you can't get yourself out of it, makes you sink even lower, doesn't it? Even if you keep reiterating in your head to the outside world, it's only 2 weeks. But if you feel that way, and that constant feeling of I can't get out, I feel miserable, no amount of weeks, days, minutes, hours makes any difference because it's so hard to get through the next 30 seconds.
Like how I felt when I ran out of toilet roll and there's no one else in the house.
Yeah, it's kind of the same, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll move
You
on.
said they felt helpless.
Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah. Next question.
So Zimbardo was meant to be the professional. Why does he end up running the prison like it's real?
I think he saw the quality in what he had set up. I think initially he was going to let it play out. The plan was always he was going to let it play out and see what happened. I think the fact that the guards and the prisoners almost took on board their roles so quickly, way quicker than expected, and things started to escalate where the guards started to become more physical, more forceful, more authoritative, more cruel, and the prisoners very quickly went into themselves and started to act that way. I think he realised there's something here. If I input myself and I make it so that when they say I'm having a mental breakdown, I say you can't go, it's only going to escalate the results. So I don't think initially that was his plan, but I think he realised he had like gold there. And it was like, if I kind of twist it and turn it and try and manipulate it a little bit, I'm going to get even better out of this.
Yeah.
So I think he just saw the value in it.
Yeah, okay. At the detriment of a lot of people's mental
absolutely,
health.
yeah. But I don't think that was the main concern for him. It was, we're proving something here. We've set out to prove something. We're proving it beyond what we thought we were going to prove. Let's squeeze it a little bit more and see if we can get more out of that.
So would you, the way I see that is he become a victim of his own experiment.
In what way?
He was thinking more of the results than what these people were actually going through.
Yeah, well, he's not the victim, is he? He just hasn't done that cost-benefit analysis very well.
Neither were the guards. The guards weren't the victim, but what I'm saying is...
Well, you say that, but that's not necessarily true. Looking back, they might well have felt like a victim because when they look back at their behaviour, they might be outraged by it and think...
Yeah, but that's when they look
did
back.
I do that?
When they look back,
yeah.
Which leads me to my next question,
yeah.
Which was, do you think Zimbardo got so into the experiment himself that he was putting things in place or following the court rules, not like putting the experiment first and then after it all came crashing down, thought, I shouldn't have done that?
Oh, absolutely, because in the moment, he probably thought he was going to get some more information, some more results, like push them a little bit harder, push them a little bit further.
Which is what I meant with, the guards got hooked on power, just say that, got hooked on power. The prisoners felt helpless. Zimbardo was thinking of the results rather than the people that were suffering. That's my observation.
Yeah, I think standing back from it, he probably looked at it and thought, this is amazing. My name's gone down in history. I've proven a concept in psychology. I've got a fantastic, long-lasting study. But don't get me wrong, he probably would have felt a lot of guilt about it because he probably
I like to think he
would
did,
look back and think, actually, I've caused a lot of harm here.
Just like I think the guards felt.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It was the prisoners that dealt with the initial upset and harm and walked away thinking, I'm having a mental breakdown, some of them. But the guards and Zimbardo himself probably walked away later on reflecting on it, going, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, and then if they came out in public and admitted that that's how they felt.
Well, some of them did. Some of them did later on reflect and say.
But that would probably put the prisoners, give them a sense of they were actually the winners.
Yeah.
Or, while we were all fucked over.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right, so the lady, I can't remember her name now.
Well, to my knowledge, she was his girlfriend.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, Zimbardo's girlfriend.
Zimbardo's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So he was so proud of this experiment that he said, come and see it. Yeah? Am I wrong? Am I right?
No, that's right.
Yeah. I don't know what means?
Well, normally means yes, but is that not Welsh? Or?
Well, I don't know. You could say, What does that
Okay,
mean?
for this example, it means yes.
Okay, but what does mean?
Well, I don't know. You made that noise.
Means, I don't know.
That's not the noise I made, though, is it?
What was the noise you made again?
Anywho,
What happened then? He invited her down. He was proud of his experiment. He was in the experiment, in my opinion, just as much as everyone else there.
yeah,
She came down and said, "This is not okay.
yeah.
That is not a quote." She probably said something a little bit different than that, but that's basically what she said.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Well, I think that just kind of identified to him that it had gone a little bit too far.
Right, so we know what happens next. That was a stupid question. I shouldn't have answered that.
Yeah.
I asked you that. Do you know what made Zimbardo snap out of it and listen to her? Is there any sort of psychological thing behind that?
Well, no, not necessarily. I think it's just more so that, as we know with anything, when you're involved and engrossed in something, you get carried away, your head runs away with you, you think about it day and night. Sometimes it takes somebody from the outside to go, hold on, what's going on? And that relates to every situation, to go, oh, what's this? And then you suddenly go, oh, yeah, actually, what is this? When you're living it and breathing it, you don't even notice it half the time. And that's anything, isn't it?
What does this say about people?
I think the main takeaway from this is that people fulfill roles in their life. And I think it's not necessarily about, it is to do with positions of authority and positions of lower power. But I think the main takeaway is that if you're given an expectation of a role to fulfill, that you will then play up to it. And obviously there's outside factors that impact that, in the sense of uniforms and things that shield your emotions and taking away your humanity by giving you a number instead of a name. There's lots of factors to it. But the general rule is, when you're given a role, you play that role. And I think that's really important. I think if you ask most people, if I was to give you this role, would you play it? They'd say no. But that's not true. It's proven that that is the case. Like, for argument's sake, as an example, for me, acting as a teacher, I'm not a naturally authoritative person.
No, you're
That's not my way. In the home, I'm very much, well, let's be honest, kids walk all over me. I shout, no one listens. And I'm quite quiet, really, and quite laid back and easygoing. But put me in the classroom where I know I've got to be in charge of 30 kids. I've got to answer to a boss. I've got to look professional, act professional. I'm very confident in turning around to somebody who starts talking while I'm talking and saying, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because that's the role I'm fulfilling. That's not me naturally as a person. That's just the role I'm playing. And I think that there's a lot to be said for the roles that everyone plays in whatever direction that is, whether you're in the power position, you're in the lower power position, whether that's the role of mum, dad, teacher, policeman. Like, we all have different roles to fill. I think the main takeaway is that if you give someone a certain role with a certain expectation, they will, no matter who they are as a person, to some degree fulfill it, because that's the expectation put on them. And then if you add pressures and you add other factors that make them feel more powerful, they will play up to it even more. I mean, I'm sure even now, this experiment would never, ever be allowed to happen. Not in this day and age, ever again.
No.
But if you were to select, say, 5 random people out of society and give them a police outfit, give them a car, give them a truncheon, give them a set of sunglasses, and say, you can go and arrest people, I bet 3 out of 5 of those would be quite aggressive and quite brutal, because they're fulfilling that, oh, I now have authority, I can do as I please.
And it's what they think a policeman
should do
or can do.
Because the set of rules are expected of them. So they feel as though they can, or that they should. And some people who are naturally more aggressive than others would probably take it further.
Yeah.
But I genuinely believe that any one of us who was given that position of authority would to some degree fulfill it. And that's the takeaway from the experiment. That's what they were proving.
Well, I can't say any better than that. I think you've just ended the episode without knowing it. It's like what I was thinking, like how you like me to dress up like a cowboy and say yee-haw and that. I feel like I really fit into that role. What do you think?
Is that a different wife of yours? Because I don't remember that.
Good night, everyone. So there you have it, guys. From the horse's mouth. My wife. She knows what she's talking about. She is absolutely the cleverest woman, the most loving woman, the most selfless woman that you could ever meet. She's beautiful, obviously, because, you know, I'm pretty too. But, God, what a woman. She got no common sense. Absolutely no common sense at all. But she is the glue that keeps this family together. There's 6 of us. We got an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and twin 3-year-olds. And it's hard. But the one thing that I can rely on is her support, her love. Also, she's very honest. If this podcast was shit, she would tell me. Even when I've said, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And she's listened and she said, you're doing a good job. You're doing what you enjoy. Keep up with it. And that is just music to my ears. I love her so much. I love my children, I love my family, and I love my life. So yeah, I suppose this is just informative, but also a thank you for seeing me for who I am. And I love her. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. It's been a great laugh. We take the piss out of each other. We're always giggling. We're always having a laugh. We like the same shows, apart from the Kardashians. But yeah, she's my rock, and I love her.